Here are some reminders to help you get the most out of your Dive Math CD-ROM. First, remember that God gave us mathematics to use, number one, as a tool for studying His creation, number two, as a way to interact with other people, and number three, as a way for us to learn about deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning, and analogies, which are the three main reasoning processes God has designed our minds to use. Now, when you're doing the Dive CD lessons, make sure you work the problems with me and take notes, or sometimes you can pause the CD and see if you can figure out a practice problem, fast forward to the answer. And if you got it right, go ahead and move on. If not, rewind and see what you did wrong. Pause and rewind as necessary until you understand a concept. That's the way to get the most use out of this CD, is make sure you understand something before you go on. Do all the problems in the problem sets at the end of each lesson, and wait to use the solutions manual after you are finished with the problem set. Make sure and show your work on all your problems, and that means being able to tell where a mistake was. If you can do that, then you know you're showing enough work. And finally, have a good attitude. The best math program in the world won't do you a bit of good if you have a poor attitude, if you don't care, if you're being lazy or complaining, or don't think that your parents should have gotten you the Dive CD or whatever. Just have confidence that your parents are doing their best for you, that God has given you this CD for a reason, and therefore you better make every second count and try to learn as much as you can while you have this opportunity. And I know God will bless you for your effort and for your perseverance for completing this course. Lesson 4 is on construction. This should be a review from Saxon Algebra 2. You will need a compass and a ruler, some kind of straight edge. The Greeks, they didn't measure things, so they just had a straight, something they could draw a straight line with, basically. That's what they used. But you'll need those two things, a compass and a straight edge of some kind, for this lesson. So this lesson is kind of a history lesson, just to give you an idea of how the Greeks did things when they were working with geometric shapes. Today we're usually concerned if we're going to make an angle or a triangle or some line segment, we want to know how long it is. We're doing that to build something usually. We use computers now, computer-aided design or CAD programs, to help us make different drawings that require geometric shapes. So remember, everything that I write on the screen, you should write it too. And the first thing we're going to do is copy a line segment. So what I want you to do is just draw a small line segment, just maybe a couple inches long, on your paper and label it AB, line segment AB. And we're going to copy that exact line segment. And you may not want to make it exactly 2 inches long, just kind of use your ruler to draw it nice and straight. To copy it, what you'll do is make a ray. Use your straight edge, your ruler, to make a ray, and actually that's really what we're supposed to be doing here, is just working with the segments. We're not really concerned with how long they are, because that's what the Greeks were doing mainly when they were working with geometry. They weren't concerned with how long things were, or how big they were and things like that. They were just concerned with congruency, similar shapes. So let's make a congruent line segment to AB on this ray that we have here. So the first thing you'll do is you'll take your compass and you'll make it as long as segment AB is. Keep that compass the same size, then move it over to the ray, put the point of the compass at the end point of the ray, and then just make yourself a little mark on the ray itself. And that basically represents point B. And then you can put a little dot there if you want to. And you can call that A prime, B prime. That's our new line segment. We can erase our construction marks and see our congruent line segment there. Let's continue with copying angles, and just think about 600 years before Christ, 600 to 300 years before Christ. That's a long time ago. They didn't have calculators. It was really hard to do like a long multiplication problem, dealing with lots of numbers. So I mean, it's actually kind of easier to do geometry like this where you didn't have to deal with numbers and things like that. You could still learn a lot about the different geometric relationships without having to work with numbers. And it was probably even difficult back then to make a compass and make something that had a straight edge to it. That was probably a fairly difficult thing to design and manufacture. They just didn't have the machines that we are fortunate enough to have today. So let's go ahead and copy an angle. Let's see how we use construction methods to copy an angle. First, just draw an angle on your paper. Doesn't have to be exactly like mine or anything. Just make two rays with your straight edge that intersect, and that's your angle. And the way we are going to copy this angle is first just draw another ray, and the length of the ray doesn't matter, right? Because that's what a ray is. It goes on forever. So all we're concerned with is getting that angle measure correct. Now, watch closely. You might want to rewind a couple times so that you can do this correctly on your paper. Take the point of your compass, put it at the vertex or at B, and then it doesn't matter where this arc goes, just draw an arc that goes through both rays. Transfer over to the other ray that you've drawn and just redraw that arc. It has to be have the same radius basically. Okay, now what you do is you go over to kind of where point A is on the left. Put your point there and then intersect that blue arc that you've drawn with ray BC. So basically right through here, right through there. Transfer over where the arc that you've drawn intersects the new ray and make a new arc that intersects the other one. Now you have a point to draw your other ray through, and you can just bring it on up, get your straight edge out. You have made a congruent angle, and so we could call this one A prime, B prime, C prime. We made two arcs there. First we made an arc through angle ABC, copied that identical arc over to the right, and made sure it went through both rays on angle ABC and made it long enough on our new angle. Then we went over to where the arc intersected ray AB. Put our point of our compass there and put the pencil through where the arc intersected ray BC. Copied that arc over to the other side, copied that intersection. We had 2 points to make ray B prime C prime through, and then we made congruent angles. Erase our construction marks and we see our congruent angles. It's always a good idea to use a pencil in your compass. Don't put a pen in there, and you can draw those arcs fairly light so that you can erase them later. Now let's draw a bisecting angle. That means we'll split this angle into two equal or congruent angles. Now I'm just doing what it has in the book there, but it's just super important for you to do this too. You're not being very wise if you're just sitting there watching me do this, because you have to be able to do it yourself. And if you don't have a compass, that's really not an excuse. All you have to do is take a piece of string, tie it in a knot around your pencil, and then hold your finger on the other end of the line, and that can be like your point. You can pull the string tight and make all kinds of different arcs, make everything you need. I mean, that's what I'm doing. I don't have some giant compass that I'm drawing on the dry erase board with right now. I have a string wrapped around my pen. So bisecting angle, here's what you do. Put the point of your compass at the vertex B and then make an arc. It doesn't matter where you make this arc, probably less than halfway, just so you'll have some room for the rest of what you need to do. Put an arc through, and then what you'll do is at those two places where the blue arc intersects the ray or the rays, put your point. I'll do the top intersection first. Put your point there and then make an arc out to the right. Then keep that distance the same. Put the point at the bottom intersection of the arc and the ray AB, or ray BA, sorry, that's how we should say them. Put another arc there. Now you have an intersection point you can draw another ray through. And so just start at the vertex B, draw that ray right through there, and you have two congruent angles. You have bisected angle ABC. Now let's bisect a line segment. Draw a line segment on your paper. It doesn't matter how long it is, because remember, we're not concerned with lengths right now. We're just working with congruent shapes here, basically. If we wanted to split that line segment in two, that's what bisecting means. What we do is put our point of our compass, we'll start at A, it doesn't matter, we can start it at B too. We'll start it at A and make the pencil go out so that it's more than halfway across the distance of that segment. Go up, make an arc above, then go down, make an arc below. Keep that distance the same, don't change that distance. Put the point over at B, make an arc above, and make an arc below. You have two intersecting points there, and just draw a line segment right through them. Mine didn't come out just perfect there. It should have been perpendicular. This point right here is the middle of segment AB. We have bisected it. Now let's look at how to make a perpendicular through a point on a line, a certain point on a line. Let's make a perpendicular through point B. And basically what you do is apply what you know about the bisecting line segments. You make B the middle of a line segment. You make it the bisector of a line segment, and you do that by taking the point of your compass, putting it at B, and then just make yourself a little arc like between B and C. Keep the same distance and make that arc on the other side as well. Now follow your steps for a bisecting line segment, and you should be able to make a perpendicular right through B. Just put your point of your compass, we'll put it at that left arc where it intersects the line segment AC, and draw an arc above and an arc below. Then we'll move over to the other arc on line segment AC, put our point on that line, on that intersection, make an arc above, and make an arc below. So we have those two intersecting arcs there. We should be able to draw a line segment right through there, and that is a perpendicular to point B on line segment AC. Last thing we'll do is construct a triangle. And actually, it's not the last thing, it's one of the last things we're going to do is construct a triangle. Just make 3 line segments, make each one a little bit longer than the other one on your paper. Then what you'll do, if you want to make a triangle from those 3 segments, the first thing is just to make a ray. That'll be the base of our triangle. Remember, when we do construction, a lot of times we have stuff to erase when we're done. We'll have a little bit of leftover segments on here that we'll have to erase. We make that ray longer than our longest segment over there, so make sure it's longer than EF. And what you do is you copy segment EF. You apply what we already know to make a triangle. So we're building here, right? We're using deductive reasoning. We have some other rules that we've learned on construction. We're applying those to make new things. Now we're going to make a triangle using some of the rules we already know. Copy EF by putting your point of your compass at E, the pencil at F, then move that distance over to this ray, put an arc through the ray, and so now we can just call that E. I'll just call it E prime, F prime. We have that segment there. Now let's copy segment CD, at least copy its distance over there to the ray. Put your point of your compass at C, put the pencil at D, move that, keep that distance the same, put your point over at E prime, make an arc, make a pretty big arc. Okay, now let's take AB, take segment AB, put your point at A, your pencil at B, move that distance over, and listen carefully, put the point at F, make an arc. I almost didn't make those long enough. They just barely intersected, but they intersected enough for us to know this is basically the top of the triangle right there. This segment from here to here is side A prime B prime, we could call it. And this side of the triangle here, that would be considered side C prime D prime. Think about what you're doing when you make an arc. An arc, the distance from the point to the arc is always the same, right? Because an arc is the boundary of a circle. We get those two circle boundaries to intersect, and those distances AB and CD will still be the same. Erase our construction marks, and there's our triangle that was made based on those three line segments. There's only one triangle that would fit with those three segments, and that's it right there. Next, let's look at constructing a parallel. And what we're doing here is, if we have a line and then a point, we want to draw another parallel line through, or a line that's parallel to the given one. This is what we'll do. First thing is just draw a line that has an angle to it other than 90 degrees. I guess it could have 90 degrees, but just draw a line segment, use your straight edge, and draw it from that point through the line that's given. Now we use deductive reasoning. We apply some of the rules we already know on copying angles, and we'll make another angle above. We'll call this point, just so we can have a name for it. We'll call that point P, and we'll call this one down here point A, where this intersection is. Remember, if lines are parallel, their corresponding angles are congruent, right? So we just have to draw a congruent angle up there through point P, and we'll have our parallel line. So at point A, what you need to do is just draw an arc like that, then keep the same distance, go up to point P, draw another arc. To make the angle now, we need to put our compass at the bottom arc. Put it between basically point P and point A. Put the compass point there where the arc intersects that line segment, and then put the pencil through the intersection along the given line and its arc. Move that up now to the top arc and line intersection, and make that arc. Now we should be able to draw a parallel line from P to that intersection of the pair of arcs on the right. The best thing to do would be to take your straight edge and line it up with those 2 points. So we have two parallel lines there because those angles, these ones I'm putting little green marks on, those are corresponding angles, right? We just constructed two congruent angles. So actually I put yellow marks on them. Those two congruent angles, that when we have a line intersecting two parallel lines, you get corresponding angles that are congruent, right? So that way we know that those two lines are parallel. We could do this. We could put a little extra line segment off of that arrow on the right. Remember, that's how we designate parallel lines. Erase your construction marks, and there you have a line that's parallel to the given one. Now the last one on equal segments, I'm going to skip that one because really what you have to do on that is use your ruler, use the measurements on your ruler to make equal segments. You have to do that first, and we're kind of trying to do this historically like the Greeks did. They just had a straight edge and a compass. They didn't really use measurements. So you can learn about that one if you want to. It's pretty self-explanatory. Otherwise, that's all for Lesson 4.